Welcome to I Told My Story channel. I'm Mason. I am unfortunately a hamburger addict. I'm struggling with obesity, and it makes me very unhappy. Yet, I can't stop eating 3 hamburgers a day. So, how did this start and what's going on in my head? Let me show you. Hello, I'm Joy. It's my job to bring happy moments to Mason, but I must admit, it has been a bit challenging lately. I'm Sadness. I'm with Mason during tough times. Unfortunately, we've been spending a lot of time together recently. I'm Disgust. Bad smells, terrible foods, and unhealthy habits. That's my territory. I'm Fear. I foresee dangers and try to protect Mason, but these hamburgers, they make me anxious.
I'm Anger. I handle Mason's frustrations and fury, and this addiction is driving me crazy.
It was the first day of high school. I was sitting at my desk, quietly staring ahead. At that moment, Emma walked in and sat at the desk next to me. My heart started racing. I had never felt like this before. I fell in love the moment I saw her. What a beautiful girl! Seeing her lights me up inside. I feel so good. But we're too overweight for her. We'll never get her attention. Why do you ruin my happiness? I'm just stating the facts. We're too fat for her. But seeing her gives me hope. Isn't that enough? Hope? Maybe it's just hope that'll turn into disappointment. My platonic love for Emma causes constant turmoil among my emotions. I want to talk to her, but my insecurities hold me back. Mom, how many times do I have to tell you eating hamburgers makes me happy? And I hate broccoli soup. Mason, you need to stop eating hamburgers to be healthy. Please try the lovely meals I make. Broccoli soup? It smells awful. I can never eat that. Don't worry, Mason needs to eat hamburgers to be happy. Eat hamburgers! Eat hamburgers! Mom, please. Eating hamburgers makes me happy. But for your health, Mason. I know, but I can't be happy without eating hamburgers. Walking down the hallway absent-mindedly, I suddenly bumped into Lucas. Watch where you're going, hamburger head. Those words drove me mad. Anger flared up inside me.
Now you'll see!
You're the hamburger head. Lucas smirked mockingly and continued. You're the one who eats hamburgers every day. You'll turn into a Big Mac one day. At that moment, Emma was passing by and noticed the situation. She gave Lucas a stern look. Leave him alone, she shouted. Turning to me, Emma said softly, It's not worth dealing with them. I lowered my head in shame. You're right. Emma extended her hand to me. By the way, I'm Emma. We sit next to each other, but haven't talked yet. Embarrassed, I extended my hand. Oh no, he touched Emma's hand. What if she doesn't like it? Why wouldn't she like it? I think she's only helping out of pity. While holding Emma's hand, I felt a wave of happiness, but there was also deep sadness because maybe she was really only helping out of pity. The thought of Emma pitying me gnawed at my insides. I decided to lose weight to look better in her eyes. Mom, I want you to sign me up for a gym. I want to lose weight. My mom nodded approvingly. Of course, Mason. Your health is the most important thing. That day, my mom and I went to a gym. As soon as we walked in, we were greeted by a coach with a stern look.
What's your name?
Mason.
All right, Mason. Let's get started. Get on the treadmill and run.
I got on the treadmill and started running. The coach kept yelling, trying to encourage me.
Faster, Mason. Come on, don't slack off. Run, run, run.
I was drenched in sweat, gasping for air, but the coach kept yelling.
Speed up, Mason. You won't lose weight at this pace.
Unfortunately, we can't do this sport.
This coach is making us run like crazy. We're not coming back to this gym.
You're right. Mason needs to eat hamburgers to be happy. Half an hour later, I found myself at my favorite hamburger place, devouring a giant hamburger. There was a strange mix of happiness and sadness inside me, but at that moment, the only thing that mattered was the hamburger. The next day, we were in class, and our teacher gave us a new project assignment. Everyone was to work in pairs. The teacher turned to me and said,
Mason, you'll be with Emma and work on this project after school.
I was overjoyed and looked at Emma, who smiled at me. Inside, Joy was throwing a party. After school, Emma and I were walking to the library, chatting. Just then, someone came up from behind and snatched Emma's phone. Emma started crying. "Mason, please help!" she screamed. I immediately started running after the thief, but after just a minute, I was out of breath and collapsed. My vision blurred, and the last thing I heard was Emma's desperate cry. "Mason, are you okay?"
Damn it! We embarrassed ourselves in front of Emma! This is what happens when you eat so many hamburgers!
Calm down, Anger. Maybe eating a hamburger will make Mason feel better.
No! No hamburgers this time! Everyone, get out!
Can I stay with you?
Okay, I guess you can stay.
My inner world was falling apart. As my memories crumbled, the void inside me grew. Desperation and hopelessness swallowed me whole. I was on the brink of a breakdown. Neither Emma's words nor anyone else's support could comfort me. This darkness had completely taken over my inner world. For the rest of that week, I didn't speak a word to anyone. Even if I saw Emma at school, I didn't talk to her. There was a big void inside me, and I was slipping into a deep depression. As I walked down the hallway, kids would taunt and mock me, but I didn't care. They were surprised by my lack of reaction. When I got home, I didn't even talk to my mom during dinner. My mom noticed the unhappiness on my face. "Mason, how are you? How was school today?" she asked with a sad expression. I didn't answer. I slowly ate the hamburger in front of me. My mom looked worried, but I remained silent. As soon as I finished my meal, I retreated to my room. The next day, I found myself in the office of the eccentric psychologist, Dr. Lin, who was famous on social media. As I laid on the couch, she asked me many questions, but I didn't answer any of them. "How are you?" I remained silent. "What's your name?" Again, I stayed silent, giving no response. Dr. Lin took a deep breath and looked into my eyes. "All right, let's talk about your obsession with eating hamburgers. Do you remember that day? The bad day that started it all?" I started thinking. In the control center of my mind, all the emotions were frozen. "Come on, remember. Something must have happened that day. What happened?" Suddenly, I started to remember. When I was in middle school, one day I came home from school, and my mom was crying. "What happened, Mom?" "Mason, your father died in a car accident," she said, sobbing. I didn't know what I felt at that moment. I was in shock, staring at my mom with vacant eyes. The world seemed to stop, and there was a huge void inside me. I didn't speak for days, didn't eat anything. As a last resort, my mom ordered a hamburger meal that kids love. In my mind, Joy shouted with excitement at the sight of the hamburgers. "You should definitely eat this. It's pretty sweet. I could eat this every day." That moment became a golden memory in my mind. I had coped with my sadness by eating a hamburger. I told all of this to Dr. Lin. She listened attentively and then stood up. "Get up, we're going." I was surprised but didn't object. I got into her car, wondering where we were going. This journey might be the turning point of my life. We stood in front of my dad's grave, with Dr. Lin by my side. "Why did you bring us here?" I asked. Dr. Lin didn't answer, just looked into my eyes and said, "Wait and see." She then started doing something on her phone. Half an hour later, a delivery person arrived and handed Dr. Lin a package. Inside was a hamburger meal. Dr. Lin took out the hamburger and handed it to me. "Come on, eat this now in front of your dad's grave," she said, serious and determined. I looked at the hamburger, then at my dad's grave. Something inside was breaking. "Come on, eat the hamburger and feel better," she said happily. "I think the only thing he should do is cry to forget that memory," she said sadly. "Don't be ridiculous," she said, and created a bright yellow memory. But sadness took the memory, hugged it, and started sobbing uncontrollably. At the same time, I also started crying. Dr. Lin looked at me sadly. "Ew, what's this?" she said. "What do you mean? It's the hamburger we always eat," she said cheerfully. "Not this time. I'm really disgusted now," she said firmly. Joy was shocked, and sadness kept crying. I was crying too, letting out all my pain. I felt relieved. Dr. Lin hugged me. "Do you feel better?" she asked kindly. I opened my eyes, looked around. "I feel better," I said. "And the hamburger?" she asked curiously. I looked at the hamburger, no longer wanting to eat it. I threw it away. I felt a lightness inside me, as if I had shed all my burdens. This moment was perhaps the most important turning point in my life. Dr. Lin reminded me that on the day my dad died, I had bottled up my feelings and couldn't release my tears. Back then, I couldn't share my pain with anyone. Now, my tears flowed like a river. All the accumulated pain and sorrow were pouring out. Facing this deep sadness, I was slowly erasing that bad memory from my mind. "Where could he be?" she asked curiously. Just then, I appeared and sat in the chair next to Emma. "Sorry for being late, darling," I said. "It's okay, darling," she said with a smile. "I got really hungry waiting for you," she added, looking at the menu. "Shall we get a hamburger meal?" I suddenly paused. No! Since the day I threw that hamburger in the cemetery, I hadn't eaten a hamburger. I worked out regularly and ate healthily. During this time, I lost a total of 130 pounds. I was proud of myself, but what made me happiest was that my emotions were working in harmony. By the way, Emma and I had been dating for a month.
Thanks to me, he became so disciplined.
Thanks to me, he gave up hamburgers.
Thanks to me, he expressed his feelings.
Guys, you all played a big part, but the real success was finding balance by working together. If we continue like this, Mason will always be happy. By the way, if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, we would be very happy. Bye!